Well, joining us, Kelly Sadler, former special assistant to the president. She's now director of communications at America First Policies and America First Action. That action part, I really like.
Action. We're going to action for the president.
Good to see you.
Nice to see you, Lou.
And I have to say, if Google is doing this, the president talked about taking on big tech before anybody else.
Yeah.
Is he going to take on big tech?
Well,
because this is really getting outrageous when they can do something like this with a healthcare group.
No, it seems like this is a bipartisan issue on the Hill, too, in terms of people looking into antitrust suits against Google, what they're doing with all of this information that they're accumulating. We've already know that, they had to pay out, over $100 million, I think $170 million, because of YouTube was illegally gathering information about children consumers and then basing ads on that.
Well, this is a big issue. Privacy and data that is being exploited by big tech and others.
And then
it's got to be dealt with.
And then them not notifying, the consumers that they're gathering this information, or there was a breach, and in not wanting to release this, like with Google Plus, because they don't want to get into any regulatory affairs in D.C.
Well, let's get into the nuts and bolts of campaigning 2020, and we're looking at polls on suburban women. It seems to be an issue for the president. How big an issue is it?
Well, I don't think it's that big of an issue, and let me tell you why. The campaign just released some information about, basically they've had over 10,000 women suburban donors, big money donors that have contributed more than $8 million to the campaign. That puts the president as #1 in kind of this large group of women suburban donors among all of the campaigns, including the Democratic races that are going on. And we've been doing focus groups with suburban women across America. And what we found is that the hidden Trump vote is a real one, that you have to kind of pull out from these women. Like, they don't like talking about politics. They don't like talking about the, they don't like getting into it. But once they do, they recognize that this president has provided them, the lowest unemployment rate in 65 years, that the child tax care credit was doubled under his Tax Cuts Act. They recognize all of the good policies, but then they say, but we'd never put a Trump bumper sticker on our car.
Because of the perceived suburban consensus.
There was one woman said, I don't want my car to be knifed.
Yeah. Well,
and to have that backlash. And they don't want to get into these arguments.
Did your polling show anything like this during the 2016 campaign, that is, an aversion to publicly supporting the president?
Well, we weren't around in 2016. We're coming for his reelect, the PAC is. But one of the things that my boss, Brian Walsh, always says is that this hidden vote is real, and that the pundits and the political elites back in 2016 totally dismissed it. And the polls were wrong. And these are the people that are never put up in polls because they just don't respond to these questions. They don't want to respond.
And the president making it very clear, the president will make whatever adjustments required to fix those things, I have no doubt. He's also trying to make the Republican Party understand not to be led into a fool's trap. That is, too many Republican office holders have said, well, the president's call with Zelensky was okay, but, part of it was bad, but it was not impeachable.
Yeah.
What
just read the transcript. These lawmakers need to read the transcript. It's out there. There are 3 things that are not in the transcript. No speak of the 2020 re-election. There is no quid pro quo, and there's no holding of any aid. The only thing that we're seeing here is these this hidden, kangaroo court, basically, where there's no due justice, no due process for the president. The lawmakers need to read the transcript and have the president's back here, because he did nothing wrong, and the call was perfectly fine, and he's well within his presidential powers of foreign policy to have that call.
And any one of those congressmen or senators should have the intelligence and the understanding of law and public policy and politics to understand you support the president. You don't play at it. You support him. Particularly when the state of the future of the party is at stake. Kelly, great to have you with us.
Thanks so much, Lou.
Kelly
Appreciate
Sadler.
it.